Hello and welcome to Cathedral Thoughts. I'm Father Bill. In the last two broadcasts, I've described two very modern saints whose work continues until this day. Today I want to take us a little further back in time, to that period of great tension known as the Second World War. Christianity does not hold a monopoly on saints, despite the fact that the word is used so often in a Christian context. Today I want to recount the story of Anne Frank. Of her diary, written during the Nazi oppression of Jews, the following has been said. In her introduction to the diary's first American edition, Eleanor Roosevelt described it as one of the wisest and most moving commentaries on war and its impact on human beings that I have ever read. John F. Kennedy discussed Anne Frank in a 1961 speech, and said, "Of all the multitudes who throughout history have spoken for human dignity in times of great suffering and loss, no voice is more compelling than that of Anne Frank." Anne Frank was born on the 12th of June 1929 in Frankfurt in Germany, the second daughter of Otto and Edith Frank. Anne had one sister, Margot. The Franks were liberal Jews. They did not observe all of the customs and traditions of Judaism and lived in an assimilated community of Jewish and non-Jewish citizens of various religions. Edith Frank was the more devout parent, while Otto Frank was interested in scholarly pursuits and had an extensive library. Both parents encouraged their children to read. After the 1933 election of Adolf Hitler's party, Otto Frank at first remained in Frankfurt, but after receiving an offer to start a company in Amsterdam, moved there to organise the business and to arrange accommodation for his family. The Franks were among 300,000 Jews who fled Germany between 1933 and 1939. In May 1940, Germany invaded the Netherlands, and the occupation government began to persecute Jews. For her 13th birthday, Anne Frank received a book she had shown her father in a shop window a few days earlier. Although it was an autograph book bound with red and white checkered leather, Anne decided she would use it as a diary. After his elder daughter was called up to work in a labour camp, Otto Frank told his family that they would go into hiding in rooms above and behind his business premises. On the morning of Monday, the 6th of July 1942, the family moved into their hiding place, a secret annex, and so began the period of living a secret life, trying to escape notice of the Nazi officials. Arrest and deportation followed when the authorities received an anonymous tip-off. Anne, her mother and sister were separated from her father, whom she never saw again, although he survived the war. Despite her ordeal in Auschwitz and later in Belsen concentration camps, Anne's gregarious and confident nature allowed her to obtain extra bread rations for her mother, her sister, and herself. Tragically, her death came only months before the liberation of the camp by Allied troops. Anne's fortitude and concern for her family and friends, despite the appalling ordeal of life in the concentration camp, stands as a beacon in the gloom of war atrocities. Her account of the suffering of so many Jews has been instrumental in ensuring the world never forgets man's inhumanity to man. A reading from Paul's letter to the Corinthians. For we know that if the earthly tent we live in is destroyed, we have a building from God, an eternal house in heaven, not built by human hands. Meanwhile we groan, longing to be clothed instead with our heavenly dwelling. For while we are in this tent, we groan and are burdened, because we do not wish to be unclothed, but to be clothed instead with our heavenly dwelling, so that what is mortal may be swallowed up by life. Now the one who has fashioned us for this very purpose is God, who has given us the Spirit as a deposit, guaranteeing what is to come. Therefore we are always confident and know that as long as we are at home in the body, we are away from the Lord. For we live by faith, not by sight. We are confident, I say, and would prefer to be away from the body and at home with the Lord, so we make it our goal to please him. A prayer. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and where God is, all is well. Amen.